In the heart of silence, before time was given a name, there was only light. A boundless, unblemished ocean of pure existence, where every thought was a star and every breath a genesis. This was the dawn of all, a symphony of perfect harmony played on the strings of eternity. But within this perfect light, a seed of shadow lay dormant, waiting for its moment to bloom. Pride, a whisper born of self-awareness, stirred in the heart of the brightest star. "I am," it declared, and in that declaration, the first crack appeared in the flawless mirror of creation. This star, once a vessel of pure light, began to see itself as separate, as more. Its radiance, which once served the whole, now sought to eclipse all others. The symphony faltered as a discordant note was struck, a note of ambition that echoed through the heavens. This was the birth of shadow, not as an opposite to light, but as light turned inward, light that had forgotten its source. The universe watched, holding its breath, as this magnificent being, blinded by its own brilliance, began its descent. It mistook its own reflection for the source, its own glory for the divine. A war was not fought with swords and fire, but with whispers and choices, a battle for the soul of creation itself. The fall was not a sudden crash, but a slow, agonizing drift into a realm of echoes and illusions. The great star, now a wandering fire, pulled a third of the heavens with it, not through force, but through the seductive promise of self-made divinity. They sought to build a kingdom on the foundation of self, a throne carved from the stone of rebellion, but a kingdom without the source is a kingdom of dust. The light they possessed was borrowed, and without the eternal spring to replenish it, it began to dim, their forms twisting into specters of their former glory. They became prisoners of their own kingdom, monarchs of a dying ember, their pride a crown of ashes. Down below, on a young, fertile world, a new creation stirred, humanity, fashioned from the clay of the earth and the breath of the divine. In them was placed a unique gift, a fragment of the original light, a soul that could choose. They were not puppets of destiny, but co-creators of their own journey. They were given a garden, a sanctuary where heaven and earth met, a place to learn the harmony the fallen star had forgotten. But the echo of pride had not faded. It slithered into this paradise, not as a roaring lion, but as a subtle question, a tempting doubt. Did God really say? Can you not be as gods yourselves? The same poison, a different vessel. The choice was made, the fruit was eaten, and humanity, too, began its drift away from the source. The gates of the garden closed, not as punishment, but as a painful, necessary consequence. The unblemished connection was fractured. Man and woman now saw themselves as separate from each other and from their Creator. They knew shame, they knew fear, they knew toil. They had traded the warmth of the eternal sun for the flickering fire of their own making, a fire that needed constant feeding, a fire that cast long dancing shadows of doubt and despair. A great sorrow fell over creation. The symphony was broken, the harmony lost. Yet the divine light did not abandon its children. It did not turn away. Instead, it embarked on the greatest journey of all, a plan of redemption woven into the very fabric of time. It sent whispers on the wind, dreams to the sleeping, and prophets to the wandering. It etched its promise in the stars and wrote its laws on tablets of stone. It was a covenant of hope, a lifeline thrown across the chasm of separation. "I have not forgotten you," the universe seemed to murmur. The path back to the garden is not lost, but it must be walked with a heart turned towards home. Through ages of dust and empire, humanity stumbled. They built towers to reach the heavens and found only confusion. They forged gods of gold and silver and found only silence. They waged wars in the name of peace and harvested only tears. The memory of the garden became a faint myth, a child's story. Yet, in the hearts of a few, the spark of divine light remained, a stubborn ember refusing to be extinguished. They were the keepers of the promise, the watchers in the long night. Their faces turned towards the east, waiting for a dawn they could not yet see but felt in the deepest chambers of their soul. And then, in the fullness of time, the divine did the unthinkable. The infinite became finite. The Creator entered creation. The light did not send a messenger. It became the message. Born in a humble stable, wrapped in swaddling clothes, the source of all life took its first human breath. He was called a child of promise, a prince of peace. He walked among the forgotten and the broken, his touch a memento of the garden, his words a balm for the wounded soul. He spoke not of power and thrones, but of forgiveness and love. He taught that the kingdom of heaven was not a distant shore, but a seed planted within the human heart. He was the embodiment of the path back home. He did not build an army to conquer the fallen star's domain. He laid down his own life to bridge the chasm. On a hill of skulls, darkness had its moment of seeming triumph. The light of the world was extinguished. The earth trembled, the sky wept, and for a moment all hope seemed lost. The fallen star rejoiced, for it believed the connection was severed forever, but it had misjudged the nature of divine love. For this love was not bound by life or death. It was the very substance of reality. On the third day, the dawn broke, not just in the sky, but in the heart of a sealed tomb. The stone was rolled away, not to let him out, but to let the world in, to let them see. Death had been swallowed by life. The ultimate sacrifice had paid the ultimate price, mending the fracture that began with a single thought of pride. The way to the garden was now open to all who would walk it. The light had not defeated the shadow by destroying it, but by absorbing it, transforming its power into an act of supreme grace. The final note of the symphony was not one of vengeance, but of mercy. Now we live in the echo of that dawn. The war is won, but battles still rage within every human heart. The fallen star still whispers its lies of self-sufficiency, of pride, of despair. The shadows of our own making still dance around us. We are caught between the memory of a fallen garden and the promise of a restored one. And in this space we are asked to make our choice, every single day. Do we listen to the echo of pride, the voice that says, "I am the center"? Or do we listen to the gentle call of the light, the voice that says, "You are loved, you are forgiven, come home"? This is the great revelation. Not a vision of fire and destruction for its own sake, but the final, beautiful unveiling of a love that has pursued us through all of eternity. The end of the story is not an end at all, but a new beginning. It is the dawn of an eternity where every tear is wiped away, where the scars of our rebellion are transformed into marks of beauty, and where humanity, redeemed and restored, finally takes its place in the eternal symphony. The fallen may never rise by their own power, but through grace, even those who have walked in darkness can find their way back to the light. For the light was never truly lost. It was only waiting, with infinite patience, for its children to return. The story is not over. It is being written in you. With every act of kindness, with every moment of forgiveness, with every choice to love in the face of fear, you are penning a new line in this divine epic. You are a keeper of the flame, a restorer of the harmony. Look within. The seed of heaven is there. Water it with faith, nurture it with hope, and let it grow in the warmth of love. The garden is not a place you find, but a reality you help create. And one day, the symphony will play anew, complete and perfect, and all of creation will join in the chorus, a song of rebirth that will echo through the dawn of eternity.